Hi everyone, welcome to Insider Movies, October edition 2017, week 3. So once again, I'm going to do a little bit of an intro because things are changing. Just like last week, more is happening. And just like last week, I have good insider dirt for you. We have some members of the Academy with us, so welcome, welcome. And also some of the film schools are doing theater nights, as well as some of the members of the academies are doing theater nights, and that's wonderful. And I made this series exactly for that. I mean, that's why it used to be called Movie Fridays. The entire purpose of it was so that people would get together and have something to watch together. I mean, that's what the movies were for communities to come together and watch as a community, to come together and experience the movies and change together and experience something together and have something moving. And it's a beautiful thing when we come together and experience movies together. So I'm thrilled about it. I do want to take the opportunity, however, if I have their ear, well, since I have their ear, let's just do it. Like, I am going to take the opportunity while I have it, and let's do it, because you know I have things to say, and I know the rest of you out there are like, oh, what is she going to say? What is she going to say to the Academy? What is she going to say to the Academy? Oh, here's what I'm going to say to the Academy. Well, are you ready? Are you ready? Here's what I'm going to say. So, first of all, I've known members of the Academy for a while now. I've gotten contacts for quite a number of years, and I've learned so much through them. I've learned so many interesting things about the Academy through them. And I've attended your events. I've attended on the lawn and seen screenings. If any of you guys live in Southern California or travel to Southern California at all, the Academy has these brilliant things. You can go to these like free events. You can get tickets, sign up online. They have movie enrichment events, and you can go and see movies and meet amazing people. I think my favorite was when I did the Peter Pan event, and I got to see the people who were the inspiration behind Wendy. That was my most memorable one. She was not Wendy. I'm sorry. I met the girl behind Wendy, but I also met the woman behind Tinkerbell, and she was so memorable. So memorable, and I have pictures with her and everything. So, you know, there's been numerous things that I've done, but these are the things that I want to say while I have your ear. So the biggest thing, the absolute biggest thing, number one, is that the moving over, and I already say this in my tapings, you will be hearing it in the future in my Insider Movies, either this month or November, because I've already taped into November. November, we're doing the movies I'm most thankful for, most grateful for, and those are amazing. So, but I really think, and I think you guys know it, if you really think about it, things totally changed when you moved from paper ballots to electronic ballots. And I think that was a move. Like, you did that on purpose. You wanted to move the old school people out and put the new school people in. But when you did that, number one, it was easier to be bought. And number two, as a result of being easier to be bought, you pretty much move the old school people out and just let the new school people in. And by doing that, you know, you really you almost embarrassed yourself at who you've left in as far as who the new school people are. Because who's being nominated? It's like, The Martian was nominated for Best Picture. The Martian? Like, get real. Like, it reads, your Best Picture nominees reads like an AMC theater heading. Like, if you drive by an AMC theater and you see what's showing, that's how Best Picture reads now. Why would anyone watch the Academy Awards except for fashion? It's ridiculous. And you're reading it off, and I'm like, okay, these are all the top selling. You know, like when you say Best New Artist, and everyone knows at the Grammys, the Best New Artist is going to be the top selling artist. Like, everyone knows that. Everyone knows that the Best New Artist is going to be the top selling artist. Well, now it seems like that's what the Academy is. The best selling picture is going to be the Best Picture nominee. We used to rely on the Academy Awards to pick out what was actually the best picture. Like, that's what we were supposed to be doing, was what is the best picture. And that's when we were supposed to find out what actually was done well. Like, that's when those pictures that were written well and everything. That's when those would actually get a chance to shine. And we don't hear about those at all anymore. Like, they're just gone. All the independent films. Why make an independent film anymore? Why? I was just like, as an independent filmmaker, like, what, you just sidelined them to independent film festivals? You just were like, you kicked them out, basically. You kicked them out when you made it electronic ballots. That's not right. That's not right. That's not right. That was not cool. And if someone really cares about their vote, about their ballot, they'll do a handwritten ballot. Bottom line, if they care about their vote, they'll do a handwritten ballot. So easy to hack electronically. Number 2 that I want to say to you, besides moving from electronic ballot to paper ballot. So, the money, I guess, I just want to mirror something. I have a feeling that there's a lot of Academy members that feel the way that I do. But I lost faith in the Academy the moment Saving Private Ryan lost to Shakespeare in Love. Like, that was it. I mean, the Academy died for me. The Academy died. I was like, Saving Private Ryan. And I will never forget the interview with Tom Hanks on the red carpet. And someone was interviewing him, and they said to him on the red carpet, they said, you know, Saving Private Ryan was released in the middle of the year. Do you think the Academy will have forgotten it because it was released at the middle of the year? And I remember all the parties that were going on. That's when lobbying was like really, really big. Like, all the studios were just lobbying so hard. Just lobby for Best Picture. All this money was being thrown around. And I was like, why is money being thrown around for Shakespeare in Love? Like, it was just a bad rom-com. Like, it wasn't even a good rom-com. Like, were y'all just infatuated with Gwyneth Paltrow or something? Like, what was the deal with that? Fines? I still don't. I watch it today and I'm just like, I still don't understand how you could have nominated it for Best Picture and that no, I understand why, because of the lobbying that went on. Right. So, and I remember Tom Hanks saying, no, I believe in the Academy. Just because it was released in mid-year doesn't mean they're going to forget it. He was so confident in you guys. He was so confident in you guys. I'll never forget his face. He was just like, why are you even worried about that? And I remember being like, if they're asking him the question, maybe he should be worried. Is Tom Hanks that naive? Money's being thrown around. And I guess I just have a feeling that a lot of you guys lost faith in it too. But the fact that this series is doing so well, the fact that you're watching this, the fact that you're watching this with your peers, gives me hope, and it's the reason I'm saying this. So that's what I have to say. That's why I have hope. Oh, I forgot one last thing. One last thing to the Academy members, because this is happening. This is actually happening. Do not kick. You're finding out that people don't know movies that you thought they knew and they should know, and you're throwing people out of the Academy, or you're thinking about throwing people out of the Academy, and don't throw them out. Don't throw them out if they have a willingness to learn. If they have a willingness to join your party and watch it. I don't care if you make membership a requirement or something like that. That's stupid. That's stupid. Don't make anything a requirement. Just well, I know a certain person that, yeah, if you want to go to his house, you can make it a requirement. Certain people should make it a requirement if you're going to go to their house. But just allow, if they have a hunger to learn, leave them in the Academy, because the young people you have in the Academy, they don't know these movies either, and you've allowed them in. Are you kicking them out? Are you kicking the young people out? Don't kick the old people out because they don't know Die Hard. It's better that they know, like, it's better that they know The Sting over Die Hard. I'd rather they know Annie Hall or Citizen Kane over something like Die Hard or 2 Weeks Notice. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather that they know those movies. and then they have a willingness to get to know them. Like, if they have a willingness to get to know it, it's easy for people, every generation, especially movies. I mean, the movies is all about narcissism. Everyone's like especially men. I mean, I understand 13% are women. So men are just in their ways, and you guys think like waffles. Remember, like life, you pour the syrup and you guys are compartmentalized. Women see the whole picture, right? But men, which is why you should allow more women into the movies, because this might not have happened, right? But men compartmentalize things. So of course men are going to be like, these are the eras that are the best. These are the eras that I know. Why would I look outside of it? If they're willing to go outside their compartment, there's hope. Give them that chance. Don't just kick anyone out if they are willing to learn. I remember someone joined up and they said they felt like they were attending film school again or something for the first time, and they were falling in love with acting again. They were falling in love again. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Allow yourself to like fall in love or feel like a new career is starting or something like that. Allow yourself to fall in love with the movies again. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Don't shame people right now, because the fact of the matter is that if you are in love with this series, it means that there are things that you didn't know either. This movie is not about shaming people. Like I said, like I did this for my friend who was from another country. I don't shame him. Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, how can you not? But I don't shame him because he's willing to learn, you know? Like, I make sure he knows it, but he's willing to learn. So that's all I'm encouraging you to do. Those are my words for the Academy. Take them or leave them, but I really hope you take them. I really, really do, because I don't think it should be about the fashion, because no one's going to... I haven't watched the Academy in years. I haven't bothered. I haven't even bothered. I let go of cable. When that happened, when finally the Academy fell, I was like, I remember when it turned to electronic ballot, I remember talking to an Academy member. He was someone who played, I believe he played the violin in the orchestra for the movies, which by the way, that's way better. Notice that the movies, part of the reason you guys love the movies is because it has live music playing in the background. It makes a difference in the movies when it's live music and not just some sappy track that's with electronics. Pay attention to that, everyone. But he was saying there's no one coming up. Like, I was speaking to him at a bar out in Palm Springs. You guys who are out there know which one I'm talking about. So we were talking and he was saying, you know, hey, like, there's no one who has the skills to take over these instruments. Like, no one is learning these instruments. They don't have our skill level. They can't even read the music to be able to take our spot in the Academy. And he's like, and they're moving into electronics next year. And he's like, and most of us don't even own a computer. And I just was like, I watched for it, and it was like a flip of the switch. And you guys knew it when you did it. You knew it when you did it. You made a conscious decision, and you eliminated you eliminated generations of people who cared, who really cared. And instead you took people who are narcissists, who are young, who don't know anything, who don't know what the Matrix is, and who only care about scratching their best friend's back. It's scary out there. It's really scary. You're learning. You're calling up your nephews and your nieces, and you're asking them, do you know this movie? And they don't know anything. You guys know your compartments, but they know nothing. And that's terrifying. And that's who you're letting run things. That's who you're letting vote. And I don't know if you did it just so that you could buy it, but I don't know. Was it worth it? You have a chance to get the Academy back. Those are my words. And now, moving on in, I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, it's time to go back to Halloween and Insider Movies number 3. Here we go. Hi everyone, we're back for Insider Movies. We are here for the 3rd week of the Halloween series for October 2017, and I am so excited. I'm glad you enjoyed the last 2 weeks. Classic, amazing, hysterical, perfect movies. way to celebrate, way better than any of the movies they're making today, right? So I wanted to talk about one of the movies that's going around and things like that, and I'm sure, I don't know, I just have a feeling I should address it before we get to the 3 movies for this week. I feel like I should. So let's just talk about it. And some of you guys, for some of my audience, you don't even know this movie exists or that movies like this exist. And I'm tired about hearing about it. When I saw it, I was like, what the mother of... I don't think it should be legal, period, but that's just where we are nowadays. So when you have the internet, the bottom line is that there is the world, which is civilization, and we as a society grew. There's the land. I will tell you the movie in a minute. Don't worry. I will get there. You know it. So there is the land, and we had to go through... without the internet, right? We had a land where we had to learn body to body, human to human, physical world, the physical world. And we had to learn over hundreds and thousands of years. We had to learn through war and bloodshed, the laws of society that we would have to abide by to not kill each other. Like, basically to not kill each other. These are the laws and the rules that set up that a society can live underneath without killing each other, and to like actually have some sort of semblance of rule, law, and order where it works. And we had that going for just this brief glimpse in history that actually worked out for a while, that actually came out just for a while, where people had, you know, there was a brief glimpse of civilization for a while where we actually did good. We were there for a little bit. I mean, there were some issues that weren't perfect, but man, it ain't like today. Like, definitely a different world today. And part of that is because, like, the things that are being created today, some of the movies that are being created today would never even be thought of, you know, 20, 30 years ago. And let me tell you why. Because now that we have the internet is the world of the mind. And the thing is that the world of the mind, I mean, is not policed. It is the mind. And so the internet came out, it has no policing. And so all the laws that we learned to do in the physical world, all the laws of civilization, none of them were applicable online. And so the mind just went there. Like, the mind could go wherever it wanted to without consequence. And so now the internet is 25 years old. And we have 2 or 3 generations who have lived their lives from the moment they were born on the internet. And the parents have no idea what's on the internet. They have absolutely no clue. I know because my husband was raised on the internet. I was not raised on the internet. I was lucky enough not to have the internet when I was born. And he was raised on it. And the things that he was exposed to and had to deal with versus the things I was protected from and didn't have to deal with, vastly different. It is just, you know, it's incredibly, the stresses, one psychologist put it so well. They were like, look, it is like when you put your kids out there in a land of technology, it's not that technology is so great and everything like that. It's that it is scary out there. It is really scary. Technology is meant to be wonderful, but it is also terrifying. It is terrifying because there are just traps everywhere, and it is just wolves everywhere, around every corner, every single app. There's like an app out there right now that like 40% of all teens use that I'd never heard of. No parent that I know has ever heard of. 40% of teens are using it, and they know that 80% of the users are predators. They're masking themselves as kids, and they're saying, hey, let's go for a meetup, and then they abduct them for sex trafficking, and parents aren't even aware of it. And the kids are on this app conversing daily. Parents are just like trusting their kids, and they have no idea. And if we do not, and the reason that is because the parents were raised without the internet. They don't know. They have no clue. They think that their kids have an installed thinking of what makes common sense and what doesn't. But that common sense was instilled because they were raised in an age without the internet, where civility, the physical world of civility and the laws of civility ruled the land. And there wasn't this other world of the mind where there were no consequences, that had complete lawlessness. And you have to understand that, like, there are generations now that were raised, you have to think of it as like, maybe they lived in the physical world, but their minds were in a world with absolutely zero consequences, like zero laws whatsoever, no civilization. And so like it's a very, very different thing. And like whatever they want, whatever they can see, anything, there are no boundaries. There's absolutely nothing they cannot see. There's absolutely nothing they don't have access to. They help each other out. They give each other passwords, etc. And that leads, and because we've lived with a society like that for 25 years, I mean, that's why I think kids today have no idea what porn shops used to be like 30 years ago, like how difficult it was to access porn, and what the percentage of the population that actually accessed porn was compared to the percentage of the population that now watches porn on a daily basis. I mean, it's like went from this to like less than 1% to boom to like this. Like less than 1% does not watch porn. And that is how, like, it is just like 1 to what, like, it's just like the marker's just been moved. And it's not a question anymore of like if porn is affecting your life. It's like when porn will affect your life. And, you know, the detrimental effects. And you have to raise your kids to be aware of it. And the psychologist said, you know, if you do not prepare your kids for this world, if you do not raise them for it and get them prepared for it, you're sending your kid out there like a lamb for the slaughter. And so many parents just trust their kids. If their kids tell them something, the kids say, I need this, I need this. Parents just trust them. They're like, sure. And kids don't know what they need. They don't know what they need. They know what they want, but that's not the same as what they need. And so lawlessness led to a movie like The Purge. And there ain't no freaking way. If you need to watch The Purge, then you have problems. If you have anything other than a visceral, guttural, abhorrent reaction to visually watching a trailer of The Purge, you got issues. So if you're wondering, like, why isn't The Purge on the list? It's a movie from today, number 1, which says a lot. But number 2, I mean, I was stunned when it was in our local theater. I never went back to that theater. I was like, I'm out. And I honestly believe that's because, first of all, it never should have had an R rating. Never, ever should have had an R rating. And it never, ever should have been it just shouldn't have been in a theater. All right, so that's all I'm going to say about that. So if you are attracted to that, then I don't know why you're watching this. Then you're a troller, because that's what you enjoy doing, is trolling. Or if you are attracted to that and you are attracted to me as well, then you know that, then maybe you'll listen to me and hear me when I say, please, I'm so sorry that someone hurt you. And please get help from someone that you feel like, go to a trained, go to someone you trust and get help. I mean, if you want to wait for when I'm available with my consulting, that's fine. But I really think a trained licensed psychologist, and not just any old one, because the good ones are rare to find. Just get someone really, really good that when you go in, you should walk out the very first or second session feeling really heard, really understood, and being like, I can't wait to go back. That is really how you should feel. If you're like, what the hell, then don't go back. Let's get on to the movies this week. And yeah, I'm being serious because it's a serious issue. It's the most destructive. I'm tired of seeing TV episodes where their parents are like, my daughter or my son is now, this way, and they're like arrested 10 times and, smoking pot on a daily basis, destructive behavior. And then they're like, well, what happened? And they're like, well, they saw this movie, The Purge, and then all hell broke loose. Like, they literally, it's like the genesis. And sorry, movies are powerful. Movies are powerful, and that's part of the reason I'm doing this series, because they're powerful. And I am trying to bring movies that are powerful in a good way. And that's the exact 180. That's destructive. Never should have been made. Never. Irresponsible. Every level. All right. So here we go. Week 3. Moving on to good stuff. Nightmare Before Christmas. As you can see, we're getting closer to Halloween, so I am getting a little bit more into the Elvira mode, right? If you don't know Elvira, go look her up. So, Elvira mode, here we go. So, I'm getting a little bit more dramatic for Halloween. So, family, Nightmare Before Christmas. I avoided watching that forever because I thought it might have something to do negative with my faith and everything like that. And then I saw it, and I was like, actually, I saw it because they changed the ride at Disneyland, and that's something that you should know. Also, Hollywood people, the ride at Disneyland is changed, the Haunted Mansion, the ever-famous Haunted Mansion ride. Every single October through December and into mid-January, the entire ride of the Haunted Mansion is completely redecorated for Nightmare of Christmas. And in some ways, people say it's better, and it is. In some ways, it's a lot better than the original, though I love both. But that is what convinced me to actually see the movie, and it has nothing to do with, it's just the title threw me, and my friends persuaded me, and I wish they had it. It's a great movie, so it has nothing to do with anything like that. It's actually an excellent movie, and it's wonderful, and it's a Tim Burton animated film, but it's a different kind of animation, and it was really, really big, different kind of animation for its time, really groundbreaking, nothing kind of made like it since. Super huge movie, guys, like super, super big movie, and it is still like influential. Sometimes they release it in theaters to this day. It's still in drive-ins, it's still in theaters, it's just a massive movie. It's still huge. Huge, 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 huge. And like Jack Skellington and everything, like I'm like, I've got gear, I've got all this stuff, but there is a reason Disneyland still keeps it current and everything like that, because it is so, so relevant still in today's culture and talked about so much. And you need to know where that's coming from. You'll probably recognize the logo when you see it because so many people wear it. And when you see the movie, you'll be like, that's where it's from, right? All right, so you need to see that. So number 2 is The Shining. Finally, Jack Nicholson's The Shining. You'll hear about The Shining all the time. That's kind of like The Lost Boys, but it's referenced even more than The Lost Boys is The Shining. It's based on a book, a super famous book. It was done in the 70s, and it was huge. If you read the book, it was kind of, I feel like it was a movie more, how should I say, situated to the time. You're not going to watch it, like I put it in the suspense category for a reason, because I watched it and I was like, I'm waiting for the scary part. I mean, it is creepy stuff. Don't get me wrong. Creepy stuff, right? But I think that it was more terrifying for people, like Deliverance to me was like, okay, I'm out, like, boom, I'm gone. Like, Deliverance was like the music and everything like that. I was like, whoo! And they're like, people, it's a 70s movie, Katherine. Stuff doesn't happen until the end. No, I was hightailing out of there, right? Shining isn't like that. Shining is a very, very different kind of a suspense, but it was a massive Jack Nicholson film, and it's just kind of like on this epic Titanic level almost, in like this cult kind of way. But the biggest thing is that when it comes to Hollywood, when it comes to the Hollywood industry, when it comes to the movie in it, Paramount, when it comes to every one of those, like Warner Brothers, The Shining is it. You got to know it. Like, The Shining is a brick in the mortar of the word Hollywood, in the Hollywood Hills. Like, The Shining is like made. It's like part of the O. So, gotta see it. Gotta see it. Famous scenes. Famous scenes. Famous. Just iconic scenes. And then blood elevators. Iconic scene. All right. And you can look it up after you see the movie and stuff like that. You can look up more about it if you want to learn more about it, to know why it was so important and more of the cultural of what the culture was like at the time and how it affected the culture at the time and how it related to the book. Because a lot of people read the book and the book was terrifying. And like a lot of people talk about how when they read the book, like they hid underneath the covers and they read it with a flashlight and people will walk in while they were reading the book and they were like, ah, and they throw it. Even friends Boom. Even Friends had The Shining on it. That's right. Friends had The Shining on it. So, and I think it was like when Joey and Rachel, they were like, she was reading The Shining and he was reading Little Woman. So it was like, even like, and you know, so that was like, it's a big book. And so they made a movie out of it and it was huge. So there you go. And then finally, scary movie is Scream. You knew Scream was going to be in here, right? You knew Scream was going to be in here. I mean, that's just the bottom line. So Scream, Drew Barrymore, huge, huge movie in the late 90s, I believe, mid-90s. Okay, so this was just, it was a new movie of its kind. It made fun of scary movies. And just took off. Like, just took off. It created a whole new genre. And it had all these pretty girls in it. It was like for the new young kids of the time. And it had Drew Barrymore in it. And it had Neve Campbell in it. And it just was like this shiny movie, like this shiny new kind of 90s kid movie for like the, you know, when you talk about the 80s and you have Pretty in Pink and 16 Candles, this was like for the 90s kids. For that generation of the 80s, there was then the 90s generation of kids. And this was that movie for them. And I cannot tell you how big that was. Like, you still see masks to this day, like the ghost masks. You still see them in Halloween shops. So when you see Scream and you'll see a certain kind of mask in Scream. And I mean, out the gate, it's scary. Like, it's scary out the gate. And when you see it, I mean, it's classic scary. It's not like horror or anything like that. It's just scary, like jump scary. It's just like made to scare you. It's called Scary Movie. Like, and they're just like, we want to scare you. Boom. So we're going to try and scare you. Boom. And that's it. So, and it just, it's kind of like She's All That, but for scary. Oh, God. I'm making references for movie you guys haven't seen yet. But anyway, so it's just kind of like a glossy, shiny, you know, young thing, you know, young things kind of movie, but scary just for them. And then, it just went huge because it was like a new genre and the critics loved it because it was well done. It was well done. It was totally unexpected. It was also dorky and geeky and all these different things. And yeah, it was just pinned the times down and kind of hit that Nirvana crowd of just it pinpointed a new kind of teenager that was out. It was like right before the internet hit, and it just got that time down, and it got those kids down, and yeah, and so iconic. I mean, I don't think it is hard to say any other teen movie besides I Know What You Did Last Summer, any other scary teen movie, and I Know What You Did Last Summer is more of a suspense movie. It's hard to say any teen movie besides maybe Carrie, but I feel like that's more horror than it is scary, is really more iconic. It's hard to say that. This one's super iconic. Because, I mean, the mask, when you see the mask in the film, you're going to go ahead and you're going to be like, oh, I see that everywhere. Isn't that just a general mask? Oh, they just ripped off a mask. That mask didn't exist before that movie. That was the new mask that they came up with for that movie, and it became a staple. So that was the genesis, was that movie, and now you know where it came from. And so the phone call and everything, it was memed and blah 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 blah. So there you go. Now you have a very scary movie, so you can have fun being scared if you love being scared. You have a very, very family friendly movie. Nightmare Before Christmas is absolutely for everyone. You can watch it from now all the way through Christmas. And then you have The Shining, which quite frankly everyone needs to see. Not your kids, but, you know, but if it's not your kids, like, you know, teens and up can handle it. And you just, The Shining, again, it's like a culture run, kind of like The Birds. You got to see it because you just don't want to feel dumb when everyone mentions it. You know, like, everyone uses it in a dialogue. Like, you're going to hear, like, Jimmy Kimmel use it. And you're going to hear, Like, you're going to hear Jimmy Fallon use it. Like, they all reference it when they're doing interviews on the couch. And they're like, oh, like The Shining. And you know what I mean? Like, it's just referenced over and over and over. Then you hear it in a critic's review. So you just kind of want to know it for pop cultural reference. And so that's why it's on the list. So those are the 3 movies for this week. You guys have a great time. I'm going to go and get ready for next week so that you guys have a great, like, get ready for the kids. I told you I'm building up, and I'm really excited about our final movie because it's going to be the final week. It's going to be Halloween, and we are going to do it, people. We're going to do it. I can't wait. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.